got ourselves an ice storm today. Welcome to Chicago. I wanted to have a discussion today, a fairly important one, that for my first discussion video, that I feel is something that really needs to be addressed. Why are so many people afraid to share the products of their creativity? And by that I mean poetry, writing, short films, visual arts, lyrics, anything like that. Because I've met a lot of people who have done these things in private, and they don't want to share their great work with everybody, and it's not because it's too personal. It's for some other reason that they can't explain. Because I've asked these people, is it personal, and is that why you don't want to share it? And that's really not why. And I think that inside all of us there's this deep fear of being the angsty teenager. Okay, so that's, I think, the first significant problem when we're discussing this issue. What is the angsty teenager, and why are we so afraid to express our emotions through creativity? Because, okay, I'm a teenager, I'm 16, right? And back when I was about 12 and just starting high school, I found every occasion to be one of poetic inspiration. Everything around me that made me feel anything more than normal was transformed into a poorly written poem in my journals, whether it be feeling isolated, or nice weather, or the children my mom watched in our house, or my cousins who were struggling. It didn't have to be of monumental significance at all. And it was still transformed into a poem. And I was cleaning, the other day, and I found these old poems, right? And for a split second I was like, these are bad. These are not well written. These are, they're trying to cover topics that are too broad and things like that. And I considered throwing them out, And then I thought, why would I do that? Because 12-year-old me, writing those poems did something for her. They're poems I hadn't shared with anyone. They were kept next to my bed in about 3 journals for years. Why did I feel compelled to keep them, I guess? I felt compelled to keep these things because, they were a significant part of my life. And for some reason, something inspired me to do these poems. And something inspired me to fuel my emotion into writing, whether it be bad, whether it be inexperienced writing, anything like that. My last year of high school, I took a creative writing class with probably one of the best teachers I've ever had. His name was Rich Clark, and I was the only person in the class who had written poetry for a long time. This class was full of inexperienced, I guess you could say, poets. Kids who had lived their lives with ups and downs and were terrified to write poetry because they felt they wouldn't be able to take on such a momentous job. Really, what Mr. Clark taught us was that poetry isn't supposed to do that. Poetry is just words strung together into art. Poetry isn't supposed to give you answers. Poetry is supposed to give questions, and it's supposed to give the reader an experience. Whether it be an experience we can all relate to, like the death of a loved one, or an experience being a 12-year-old freshman, which not many people I know could have related to. Things like that. Those poems are what open the reader's eyes and allow them to become less ignorant of other writers and other just normal people's daily experiences and their lives and the things that have impacted them. And these students I was with became sort of in touch with the way these experiences had impacted their lives, and they could turn something as common as death or growing up or like losing a pet. Anything like that could be transformed into a thing of beauty. And there was so much self-doubt that came with this. But I really think when those kids were in a creative writing environment, they were pushed to they were forced to like take all the emotions that they've been keeping inside and turn them into art. But there was still that problem of people who refused to share. Like I'm saying again, not because it was too personal. Because there's some poetry I hadn't shared there's poetry I still haven't shared because it's just too personal. And it's really, really hard as a writer to be that vulnerable and open yourself up to an audience. So I'm published on Teen Ink, but there's some things I refuse to put on there. It's just too, I don't know, maybe when I'm older and I've moved past certain parts about myself or certain negative experiences, I'll feel more open to sharing. But right now it's still too much of a soft spot, But some of these kids were reluctant to share. And I asked them why. I was like, well, you guys write great poetry. Why is it so scary to share it? And a lot of them said, I don't want to be too emotional. Or I don't want to be another depressed teen. Ooh, this hail. Or I don't want to be another writer, another teen writer in particular, who's just filling up the world with more bad poetry. Okay, I think there's also another problem, and that's people are scared to put their art into the world because what if it's bad? You're just filling up the world with more trash, But I don't like to think of it that way because granted we live in a world that's kind of dominated by reality television and social media and all these weird perceptions of self, so people are really concerned what emotions should be suppressed and which ones should be channeled into something. So yeah, people don't want to seem over emotional. You need to respect every experience that you've had impact on you. For a while, I used to pretend my freshman year of high school didn't exist. For a while, I pretended that I was never the awkward 12-year-old everybody is. Because really, I was forgetting that no matter who you are, most teens have those experiences. They know what it's like to feel weird, because I thought I was a really dorky looking kid, which I was, but why would I discount that? I had deleted every picture from all my social media from that year, threw out my freshman year IDs, I threw out some of the poetry, and I kind of tucked away some of the art I've made, and I just closed that chapter of my life. But it wasn't really a healthy way of closing that chapter of my life because I wasn't accepting it. And I came to learn that those experiences really impacted who I am now, 4 years later. So it's unfair to dismiss those experiences and not recognize the art and the writing I've channeled them into. Because those things were important to me. So this fear of sharing it is a really shallow fear because we all have that inside of us. And teenagers are really sensitive, and the things we deal with are usually things that kind of affect. Those things you're going to remember because those things last with you for your whole life. So basically the whole message of my rant is just don't be afraid to share the products of your teenage angst with the world because that is not something to be ashamed of at all. That's my preachy creative message for you today. I hope you all in this area stay warm because the ice is literally hitting my eyes, and I'm making this face to like prevent that. Thank you guys. Bye.